Hello and welcome to the Restricted Area Podcast, where we talk all things NBA from the past week. As a reminder, you can see this or you can hear this podcast the day before it can be seen on YouTube by checking out Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon. To get you started, I'm your host, Alex Perez, joined by the usual crew of producer Colton Smith and co-host Logan Hatfield. Fellas, it's been a couple weeks. How we doing?
Doing pretty good. Been a couple fun weeks of basketball, college and pro. College football has been fun. NFL not as fun, but for sure we got the NBA Cup wrapping up tomorrow night or tonight if you're watching on YouTube. Got a fun matchup tonight with the Nuggets and Rockets, right? Too. So that's another just fun matchup that I'm curious because that's going to affect my power rankings for next week. They played twice this week, I think. So yeah, just kind of taking it all in, getting ready for the Christmas. Christmas season's here, but getting ready for Christmas next week. Getting my gifts. Logan was doing that as well. So
Yeah,
Logan, what's going on with you?
was actually late to recording today, unfortunately, because I was Christmas shopping for some Secret Santa. But it's been a good last few weeks. Obviously, I've been enjoying some ball, maybe some games more than others. Shout out to NBA Cup, but it's been it's been good. It's been good. I'm excited to be getting home for Christmas here soon. Headed back to NKY this weekend, and I'll be there for a while. So I'm excited to be back home and see everybody and celebrate the holidays with my family.
That's what's up. Yeah, I'm just getting prepped for the holidays as well. As some of you know, I work at a school, so I have a bit of a hiatus from work. So that's pretty nice. I'll get some time to relax and spend some time with family. Haven't really got a chance to do that since I've been in Northern Kentucky, so it's gonna be nice. Enjoying my football watching a little bit more than the crew here, but it's been good. Basketball, we've had some hits and misses for sure, but that's okay. We have a NBA Cup and some others don't. Anyways, let's get into the show. It's been an exciting couple of weeks in NBA action. What stood out to you all? Colton, I'll go to you first.
so this actually stood out to me when I wasn't sure if we were going to get an episode out last week, and I was like, well, if they keep it up, I'll talk about them, and they pretty well did. The Cleveland Cavaliers, y'all good over there? What's going on? Like you kind of had that first slip, and I was like, well, there's a lot of injuries, and injuries just keep piling up. They've lost 6 of their last 9 games. Nice. The last one was to Charlotte. They totally are at 5 and 12, finding themselves eighth in the Eastern Conference. Evan Mobley, Sam Merrill, Larry Nance Jr., and Max Strauss currently all find themselves on the injury report. Darius Garland, Jared Allen have been pretty mainstays there throughout the season as well. Donovan Mitchell is doing his best to carry this team, 30 points per game, taking an average of 21 shots per game, shooting uh, 49% on those 21 shots. Mobley has been doing his thing when he played. I think he played 23 games this season. I'm kind of having second thoughts on his ceiling, low key. I don't know what it is, but he's just not taking the leap that I expected him to as what was supposed to be the second option next to Donovan Mitchell. Garland has also been disappointing, shooting 28% from beyond, trying to get his rhythm to be fair, but still, when you shoot 40% from the field or from three last year, I expect you to come back with a little bit better. You played 11 games. But shout out to Jalen Tyson. He's been a bright spot on this team, averaging 13 points per game. Just his second season in the NBA, shooting 47% from beyond. I don't know if he'll maintain that, but I mean, that's on 4.5 attempts per game. So, all in all, it's been a very turmoilous. Is that a word? But just kind of an S season for the Cavs. It started off well. They looked kind of like the same, and those injuries just kept piling up, and they haven't quite recovered yet. So they got Chicago twice this week and the Pelicans. So they could shut me up with they'll also have Charlotte in there. They could shut me up with a 4-0 week right there easily, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Are they going to turn it around, or is this just what we need to expect from them?
Well, first of all, turmoilist, if it's not a word already, need to speak to Merriam-Webster and get that going. But anyways, Logan, thoughts?
I believe the word he was looking for was tumultuous, and
Yeah,
it,
That's the word. Yep.
yeah.
yeah, Exactly. No, I mean, if I'm being honest here, I didn't even believe some of those numbers you just told me were real until I just looked them up myself. I feel like you've just become so accustomed to the Cavaliers like being a solid group that they kind of fly under the radar that they're not doing all that great right now. 8 point loss at home to Charlotte is a rough look, given the fact that I don't know if Charlotte's ever going to be a really good team again. So they're fun, but I don't know if they got it. And you took the words right out of my mouth, Jalen Tyson. I've been looking at his numbers as well, shooting over 50% from the field, shooting 46% from three, putting up great numbers there. And that 13, 5, and 2 he's putting up really is one of the bright spots on this team. I just feel like they're not getting enough out of people who they're supposed to be getting like base level play from. And that is coming back to bite them right now. And I don't know if this team is capable of a deep playoff run. They have the guys for it, and they have the guys with playoff experience for it, but I just don't think that they have that in their bag right now.
If it were any other year, I'd say I'd be worried about the Cavs, but it's a pretty down year in the East. The top looks really nice, but the rest of it is kind of a free for all, if we're being honest. Um, the injuries are obviously a problem. If those don't go away, that's going to be big trouble for them because, as you talked about, Colton, there's chemistry issues and there's shooting woes, and shooting woes are usually because of the injuries and stuff like that. So if they don't get that figured out injury wise, then yeah, that's a problem. But if it's just some shooting woes, it's the NBA regular season. They'll figure it out. And I think they'll make a deep playoff run if they're healthy. But if not, might be time for a new team to take the crown, at least in the East. Colton, you got anything else?
Yeah, so to wrap that up, they were like the Knicks and Cavs were like the two we could count on, right, in this East. And I don't know if the Knicks, they're looking fine. Hey doggy. The Knicks are looking fine. The Cavs not so much. And I think the Pistons are starting to slot into that for me, amongst other teams. But to move on to my next storyline I wanted to bring up, kind of a quick one here, but it's the Pelicans. 5-22, a bitter joke of a season. But what's so disgusting about it? You see this happen with young teams like the Wizards. Like, I mean, I guess they have some old guys on there, but for the most part, they're a young team, right? Most of these guys are in their prime years. Like, Zion, Poole, DeJounte Murray. He hasn't played a game this year, but Trey Murphy III, Herb Jones, Sadiq Bey, and Jose Alvarado. That's 7 players above the age of 25. So it's not like, oh, we'll just give it a couple years and we'll figure it out. These guys are all should be contributing to a winning basketball team. And injuries have been, of course, a thing. But what I kind of wanted to ask you guys is, of that group of players that I think can contribute to a winning organization, I know Herb Jones is one that's been shopped frequently by a team Alex is fond of to say. But is there anyone else there that you see that could get moved? Is Zion finally going to get moved? Probably not with that big contract, but um, what do you think? And is there any way? This is probably just a silly question. Is there any way the Pelicans could ever turn this around?
Logan?
I think the name that comes to mind when you think that maybe someone who may be desirable to other teams, someone who's been playing really good as of late, and makes me think Trey Murphy. I think he can kind of plug and play on a good majority of teams. I think his play style can fit well with a lot of teams. I could see him going to another team, maybe out west, or maybe to a team over in the east, maybe a contender, and being like a piece that kind of pushes them over the hump. He's been putting up good numbers as of late, like I said, and I think that his trade value is only going up. One thing I would like to see from him is better efficiency in shooting. He shoots less than 50% from the field, less than 40% from three. I think he hovers around the 35 range, which isn't terrible, but I think his trade value could skyrocket if he starts getting those numbers up a little bit. And I can't for the life of me figure out why this Pelicans team can't work. These players, like the team itself, it seems like they should be winning, like you said, Colton. But I do think it's time to start letting a couple guys go, cut some dead weight, and give the keys to Derek Queen. He's one of my favorite players to watch right now, and I think it's time to just let him take over.
Yeah, it's definitely say time for them to do. I guess another rebuild. Herb
Can't
Jones
ever
and
stop.
Trey Murphy. Yeah, right. Herb Jones and Trey Murphy. I think one of those two are definitely getting dealt by the deadline. I would love one of those in LA if it doesn't cost too much. That'd be mighty nice. But I think Jose Alvarado is somebody that could also be on the move. Zion, I don't see on the move. I think they're just too committed to him now. They've kind of put themselves in purgatory when it comes to him. So I don't think he's going anywhere, but I definitely could see those other pieces that are consistent and consistently healthy being on the move in this trade deadline for sure. Will it make things better? No, but you got to start somewhere.
Pacers, feel free to take a flyer on Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Sadiq Bey if the price is right. Just saying.
Definitely not a bad team to do
No,
that, and Celtics and any other team with draft picks. Logan, do you know one?
I can
no, no. They don't know. You don't need any
let
of
them
those
have
people.
them. Let them have them. Let them try it. Who knows?
Logan, what you got?
Yeah. So actually, Trey Murphy, talking about him was one of the storylines I was considering. So that kind of acts as one, but it kind of clears the runway for me to say that we've talked about him before, but uh, the Hornets are Con Knippel's team. That is his squad now. Miles Bridges may be the guy at the moment, but you talk to me in 3 years, every kid in Charlotte's going to have a Con Knippel jersey, which I don't know if I would have told you after he got drafted. Um, I really thought that this was going to be the LaMelo Ball show, but you just haven't seen it from LaMelo this year. And I think LaMelo Ball needs a change of scenery bad. I think he's the kind of guy that could go to a team like Dallas or maybe the Lakers if they could make it work. I don't know, just somewhere like a change of scenery. That's gonna give him a chance to kind of refresh because I think his development completely got stunted by playing on the team that he happens to play on, and constantly playing with a bunch of other like top 10 picks. I think he needs to go to a team where he can like kind of not necessarily be the guy, but have a chance to be ball dominant at times. Kind of like in a situation like the Lakers have with Luka and LeBron, where it's two the guys. I think he needs to be in a situation like that. I don't think he has someone else like that in Charlotte right now. Maybe if him and Conkinable can grow together, but similar to what I said about the Pelicans and Derek Queen, I think the Hornets should just blow it up and give the reins to KK. What do you guys think?
Colton.
I think when your vets are Pat Connaughton and Mason Plumlee, you have probably an issue in your organizational structure. I mean, Colin Sexton's a vet at this point. Weird to say, but I guess. Uh, Miles Bridges is a vet in status. I don't know if like mentally or leaderly he is a vet, but um, yeah, I mean this when I look at this team, it's just like an island of misfit toys, and I think it's been that for a while. I use that phrase a lot, but it's been that for a while, and I agree. When you talked about the team and you originally said Miles Bridges and Con Knipple, I was thinking like, well, what's LaMelo Ball been up to? I'm sorry, I don't watch much Hornets basketball, believe it or not. 19 points from LaMelo, still 8.5 assists and six. Like he's getting stats, but you can tell he's just done. He's just done with that place. He's talked about wanting to be out of there already. So I'm curious when that trade would be. Do you think that trade would maybe come trade deadline, or is that an off season? I'd have to look at his contract specifics if he's out this year or not. But yeah, I agree. I think he needs a change of scenery. I think he needs some structure around him. I think he works best. I mean, LaMelo Ball in a system, again, I don't want him on the Pacers. We have Tyrese Halliburton. It's all good. But like if you were able to get him a team like the Pacers where he can just kick it out and be the facilitator, but also be more of a ball dominant player when needed, I think that's a great spot. I think your take on like a Luka LeBron type connection, I think that could work. I don't know if that's a surefire work, but I think it definitely could work. I think just anywhere in Charlotte would just really do really well for LaMelo Ball right now.
I would completely agree with that. I definitely think he needs a change of scenery. He would love one, I am sure. Don't think it works in Lakers land as much. Too many people that need the ball in that
Too many
situation.
mouths to be fed.
Yeah, so I don't think it works there, but I would love to see him competing anywhere. Dallas, you mentioned, would love to see that. I think that would be really fun. Knipple, yeah, this is definitely his team. So I hope they put some pieces around him because I just think the league's better when the Hornets are competitive. And Eric Collins deserves to finally call some good games.
Yes.
So I hope he finally gets that chance. Logan, was that all you had?
No, I did have one more I
Okay.
wanted to bring up. It's something that I feel like gets talked about a little bit every year, but this year it finally has actual legs, and that is the possibility that Giannis might not be a Milwaukee Buck by the end of the year. Um, there is a legitimate possibility Giannis finds his way onto another team. And my question for you two is, what team do we think that is? I mean, it's a trade and it's a superstar, and so you have to include the Miami Heat in some capacity. But I think he's the kind of guy who like he doesn't care where he's going to go. He just wants to go somewhere where he can win. He's won before. He really wants to do it again. And so like my mind jumps to maybe like a Knicks type situation, somewhere where I feel like he could be good. But what does that trade return look like? Or are the Bucks even going to give the green light on that? I want to know what you guys think.
Colton.
Yeah, I'm looking around the league, and obviously there's only a handful of teams that really can fit the criteria. The Knicks are one of them. The Heat were the first one that came to mind because superstar and trade. But I do wonder what that Heat haul really looks like. Is that a Bam for Giannis trade? Surely there's nobody else. Like I feel like it has to be, right?
I don't know if Milwaukee
Yeah.
would take on Bam. I don't know. I feel like they've
That's
committed
also
themselves to
valid.
Miles Turner.
Right,
Also a
yeah.
good point.
Yeah. Um, and then I look at the Knicks and I don't even want to think about like they could definitely make it work. And honestly, well, no, I don't think that would really make a difference because they're still going to get screwed by Jalen Brunson's contract in like a year or two. They're not going to trade Brunson for Giannis, I wouldn't think. Uh, but also, I feel like the Knicks kind of got a good thing going right now. So why do they necessarily mess that up? I think they got a pretty good path to the finals with this team and how they're playing right now. Um, but also, you get Giannis, and then look, that makes it even better. So I'm not saying that Giannis would hurt that. I don't know. I don't know where else he would really fit outside of that. Sixers, nah. I mean, I'm just spitballing here. But Alex, what do you have?
I think the teams at the top of the East, while I don't see the Bucks doing that, make a lot of sense. The Knicks either picks or a ton of players that are very solid star players or role players. Uh, the Pistons, I don't know what you would have to give up, but I think that would be very fun. Um, Also, the Magic, don't know how much you would have to give up for that, but I think that could also be very fun if him and Paolo can kind of coexist there. Don't know if that's kind of redundant in that way, but obviously Lakerland would be cool. Do I see that happening? It would take a lot of players because we have like one pick.
All right,
Uh,
all
but yeah, there is a sneaky team that could do it, but we won't talk about them. But yeah, I see him going somewhere in the East to be competitive, really, rather than somewhere in the West. I don't see that happening unless the Thunder were to pull the plug on that, but I don't think they would. They got a good thing going, so why would they mess that up?
I don't
right.
know. They're
When
going
I
scorched earth
remember,
after not winning the NBA Cup.
no, yeah, that's valid. This team just doesn't have it.
No.
Uh, but I remember it kind of being talked about in the off season. I think it makes a little bit less sense now with how good they've started the year. But remember when the Spurs were kind of in those talks? Like, it kind of goes to the redundant part, but a little less because obviously Wemby can space the floor a lot better than Paolo can. But I mean, I don't know. If I look at the Spurs, the team handled themselves pretty well without Wemby, and then Wemby comes back, and they're kind of on a whole nother level, obviously. So, do you really? They kind of got a good thing going, but you add Giannis, and that also would produce a good thing. So, I mean, De'Aaron Fox, Giannis, and Vic, that would be a big three right there.
Yeah, if they have to give up, if they can only give up picks a majority of, and then not as many players, totally for that. But if you got to blow up the whole team, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because you're going to be competitive where you are right now.
Right, exactly.
Well, I'll quickly go through mine. Mine are from last week, but things that I feel like needed to be talked about. The streak's over, boys. LeBron's 10-plus scoring streak ends at 1297. It's embarrassing he couldn't make it to 1300, really. But he did it for a game-winning assist, so that was cool, I guess. But just some fun things to talk about. The last time he didn't score 10 was in 2007 when the first iPhone announcement was, and Netflix launched a streaming service.
Ooh.
Facebook also had just barely started, so uh, an unbeatable streak that obviously is never going to be touched. The second closest was some guy who used to play in Chicago, and he had him beat by 400 games. So shout out to LeBron. All great streaks must come to an end. Isn't that right, Logan? But anyways, my second one I really wanted to talk about. Chris Paul was released in the middle of the night by the Clippers
Steve Ballmer, you man.
because of a strained relationship with Ty Lue, apparently, even though he was just telling Ty Lue get organized. So like,
You're trash, buddy.
sorry, yeah. Um, so a horrible look for the organization. I hope they get caught for all their aspiration wrongdoings. This was totally messed up, and I hate the Clippers for this. I wish he would sign with the Lakers because it can't be worse than Gabe Vincent, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's just going to ride off into the sunset, but he deserved better, and it's a shame. Any
Clippers
thought on
might
those two?
be the worst ran organization in the league right now. Low-key.
Honestly, yeah.
I mean, they've made good decisions at points, but they just make even worse decisions behind the scenes. So, yeah, I mean, they're terrible. What, 6-19 now? It's disgusting there, and not in Los Angeles. They're in what, Anaheim, wherever they are.
They got
It's
their
like
own
out
arena,
outside.
thank goodness.
Yeah, they're not. Their stench isn't in Staples anymore. Crypto.
That's why we got better.
Yeah.
Logan,
Yeah.
any thoughts?
No, yeah, I mean, I'm sad, honestly. Chris Paul being one of my more favorite players of all time. It's kind of weird to see him go out like this. Just kind of gets sent home, was how he said it. So that seems like a pretty disrespectful way to cut ties with a Hall of Famer who brought your team literally so much relevance for years on end. But to the point about the Clippers being the worst run organization, I love it. I mean, I love every second of it. Puts a smile on my face knowing that AJ DeBonta is coming home very, very, very soon. So don't run, everybody. There's a certain team out west that ain't going anywhere anytime soon.
The rich get richer. Woohoo. Anyways, I think that's enough for those storylines. Now it's time for our NBA Power Rankings, where we pick our top 5 teams after the latest week in basketball. Logan, I'll go to you first.
All right. My NBA power rankings include. I got some honorable mentions I want to talk about. I'm gonna say the Lakers are my honorable mention. Number 1. I keep kind of flip flopping on where I see the Lakers long term this year. This team is so good on offense, and they're playing a really, really, really good brand of basketball on offense. But they're not playing a very good brand of basketball on defense. Their defensive rating is 20th in the NBA compared to 8th in the NBA on offense, and I just don't see that as being sustainable long term this season. And my other honorable mention is the New York Knicks, who will be playing for the NBA Cup final. They're playing a good brand of basketball right now with the second best offensive rating in the NBA and winners of 9 of their last 10. So they are on fire, and they could creep themselves up into my top 5 here very soon. Number 5 is the San Antonio Spurs, who I think have taken a major leap in the last couple of weeks. And it showed in the NBA Cup semifinals when they went toe-to-toe with the Thunder and won the game. It was one of the best games I've watched so far this year, and I'm so excited we get 2 more matchups this month from those teams. Just sucks that they're within 3 days of each other and kind of takes away all of the pizzazz from the Christmas game. Shout out Adam Silver for that. That was really awesome. Moving forward to my number 4 team in the NBA, I have the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets have the second best net rating in the NBA, 4th in offensive rating, 2nd in defensive rating, and they've found a way to play like almost such a slow brand of basketball that is working for them. It's working for this team, and they're becoming someone who could make some noise in the Western Conference playoffs. I know they started off kind of hot, hit a bit of a wall, but now they're there, and I think they finally found the rotations and everything that's going to work for Ime Udoka and this team. And then my number 3 team is the Detroit Pistons, sitting at 20-5 right now, with the number 3 defensive rating in the NBA, which is kind of, I think, indicative of just the typical Pistons basketball, but it's back and they're back. And sitting at 20-5, I know we had talked about their big win streak earlier, but I think they are a serious threat to win the Eastern Conference, and they are going to be big players in the trade market before the deadline, and definitely will be. I think they make a splash move to try and solidify themselves in the Eastern Conference. And then at 2, I have Denver. Denver has the best offense in the NBA, and Jamal Murray is finally playing at that level, and I am happy to say I think Jamal Murray is finally going to make an all-star game. Blows my mind that he hasn't yet, but I think it's finally going to happen, and this team is looking really, really good, and they've had some really good wins lately, and I think it's going to be good seeing them possibly in another 7-game series with Oklahoma City in the playoffs. And then number 1, despite the absolutely crushing loss to the San Antonio Spurs in the most important championship of the season, the NBA Cup, they are still the best defense in the NBA, still the top 5 offense in the NBA, have a net rating of plus 16, which is crazy, and are beating teams, obviously besides the Spurs and the Trailblazers at one time, by a pretty significant margin. And it's gotten to the point where people are saying it doesn't even seem exciting anymore. So, you're doing pretty good when people are starting to have those conversations about you. But 16-game winning streak is over, unfortunately. I guess that just means it's time to start a new one.
Colton, what you got?
Logan, we actually have the exact same power rankings. I got New York as my honorable mention. I got the Spurs at number 5. They maintained pace without Wemby. I mentioned that earlier in the show, and got him back on a minutes restriction and knocked off the best team in the NBA and the NBA Cup on a night in which they had their worst offensive performance of the season. OKC also had their worst offensive performance, but that stat sounded cool for a second. Houston, they lost to the Clippers, so I brought them down from 3. I had them on last week, and they could easily jump to 2, though, after this week. They play Denver twice, tonight, and then I think Friday, another night. Detroit, I have at number 3. They are atop the East, the only Eastern Conference team on my power rankings. And they're backing up what I said. When they had that little bump in the road, it was just a bump in the road. They've turned around the corner, and they're back on track. Denver, I have at number 2, 9-4 over the past month. Hasn't been perfect, but I haven't seen anything outside of the injuries that have pretty well gone away, I think, here as of recent. Nothing that I would lower them on my rankings. Like Logan said, they boast the best offense in the NBA statistically, and they are the 5th ranked bench in the NBA, which is up from 22nd in the NBA last season. They play Houston twice and also Orlando. So 3 pretty good tests right there for this Denver team. And then at number 1, I don't even say
them.
them.
Yeah, pretty similar stuff for me. At 5, I have the Spurs, 18-7, winners of 5 of the last 6. Have Wemby back. I think that's why they really cracked my power rankings this week, kind of like the LeBron deal when he was back. For the Lakers, number 4, I have the Knicks, 18-7, winners of the last 5, 4th in points per game and 5th in three-point percentage. 3rd, I have the Rockets, 16-6. Oh, the Knicks, by the way, only Eastern Conference team that I have on my list. I think they're the hottest team in the East right now, and I refuse to put more than one from the East in my power rankings until the West gives me a reason not to. Anyways, the Rockets, number 3, 16-6, winners of 3 of the last 5, third in 3-point percentage. Nuggets 18-6, they've won 4 in a row. Play Houston tonight. If they can beat Houston tonight without Aaron Gordon, that will be quite a statement. They're first in points per game and field goal percentage, so they're clicking on all cylinders on that end. Do you really need to be good on defense if you are that efficient on offense? Who knows? We'll see as the season goes on. And number 1 is OKC, 24-2. They did just have the best start in NBA history. So shout out to them. Second in steals per game and first in friendship. So just love what I'm seeing over there. I love it. I love it. Yeah, the Lakers will not be making my list. They gave up almost a 20-point lead in the fourth quarter against Phoenix. What happened to the Luka that hated Phoenix? He doesn't hate him since he's been with the Lakers. I don't know why. But let's fix that, Luka, and maybe you crack the power rankings. But for now, not so much. But that will do it for our NBA power rankings. And now we'll move on to our NBA Pick'em, where we pick our winners for the biggest games in the association this week. I have one for you this week, fellas. It's Tuesday night, so I hope everybody's watching this the day of. But it's 8:30 p.m. on Prime, the NBA Cup Final, Spurs at the Knicks. Logan, who you got?
Wemby has been talking a lot this past week. He's been saying a lot of things, and he kind of walked back on some of his statements recently by saying that nobody can have a rivalry with Oklahoma City, that they're in their own tier. I think Wemby is trying to create a problem with Chet Holmgren. I don't know why. It's gonna suck. It's gonna really suck this year when Chet Holmgren snatches that decoy out of his hands. But don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that. It's happening. Let's let Wemby hit the games restriction first, and then we'll talk.
That's fair.
But realistically, I still think that they are going to win this game. I'm going with the Spurs. I think Wemby's going to back it up, and I think he's unfortunately going to come away with the NBA Cup MVP and get that all-important award before SGA does. So we'll talk soon, obviously. I think it's going to be a great game. Two teams, I think they're pretty evenly matched, but I got to go with the Spurs in this one.
Cool.
Does NBA Cup MVP put him top 10 players all time already, or what?
For sure, yeah.
Close.
It was just right on the cusp, huh? Yeah, I'm going with the same storyline there. I feel like the Spurs are just hot right now. I mean, they didn't necessarily blow the Thunder out of the gym, but it's what you see with this team right now, it's fun to watch. Wemby's talking trash, and I feel like he's got to back it up, right? So I have him backing it up and getting that win tomorrow night or tonight.
To be fair, I think Wemby had the right to talk that trash because you all tried to throw Caruso at him like you did Jokic, and that wasn't going to work. But
No, sir.
shout out to him. Anyways, New York Knicks, I think, is the top 3 defense in the league. But the Spurs guards, I don't think it matters to them. Give me the Spurs here. New York fails to win another title, so shout out to them. And Wemby wins the one that matters. So I think I'm all Spurs tomorrow night or tonight if you're watching this on YouTube. Can't wait to watch it. It's going to be a fun game no matter who wins. I'm excited to see it. We will move on now to our shooting star where we pick our baller of the week. Colton, who you got?
So I got Jeremy Grant. Dropped 35 points last night, 7 threes, went shot for shot with Steph Curry, and he won. He won the game. Curry had more points, but so he perhaps won. He won the battle. However, Grant won the war in that case. And I don't know if you guys have noticed yet, but I just love getting the most random people as my shooting star. So Jeremy Grant, has he ever played winning basketball? Ever? Was he on the Thunder when they were good? I know he's on the Thunder.
That would be kind of good.
Where do you play?
Wasn't their heyday for sure.
He was in Philly for a little bit. when they were terrible.
If he's still coming off the bench, he's definitely front runner for
He
six
was,
man.
he
of the
was
year,
on
but
Denver in 2020. He was on Denver in 2020. I think that is the only year of winning basketball he has played.
Good for him.
he's coming off the bench making $1 billion. But anyways,
Yes. Shout out
good
to
for him.
Baller
Oh,
League.
Logan, who you got?
I am going with Wardell Curry. He has been playing phenomenal. He just came off of injury recently, so he doesn't have a huge body of work. But in his 2 games post-injury, he has 39 and 48 points. He turned back the clock a little bit and nailed 12 threes last night. So he gets my baller of the week. He is on fire right now. He's averaging almost 30 points a game in year, 17, 18 for him. He's a man on a mission. The Warriors, they might not be a team on a mission, but he's trying his darndest to do something for him, and it's pretty inspiring to watch. He's one of the guys that I grew up watching, and it's cool to see him still at this level.
They are a team on a mission to tank, I believe, but that's neither here nor there. Mine is Anthony Edwards. This past week, tied a franchise record for consecutive 30-point games at 7. So shout out to him for doing that. And he's also hitting the small screen. No promotion here, but on Prime Video with a new show called Serious Business with Anthony Edwards, where he plays professionals in their sport. The first episode was ping pong. And then he, warms up with an athlete from another sport, which was Marshawn Lynch. If you haven't seen Anthony Edwards and Marshawn Lynch have a conversation, you need to. So shout out to Anthony Edwards for just being a great basketball player and great television. And that will do it for this episode of the Restricted Area Podcast. Thanks to Logan and Colton for being on. You can follow the show's YouTube at CX Restricted Area and follow the CX crew at CX Pod Network on all socials. You can follow me on Twitter at TheWheelJill and Colton at Colt_45. That's 3 T's, by the way. And you can follow Logan on all socials at LoganH_4. And that's going to do it. Thanks to everyone for listening and watching. And until next week, like KD's jumper, be smooth.